Everyone has a story. Welcome to In Her Words, a podcast from women in entertainment where female creatives and allies share their stories in their own words.
This is a dedicated space centered on how to harness creativity for inspiring and impactful projects in the ever-changing landscape of entertainment.
I'm Renee Rossi.
I'm Gretchen McCourt.
And this is In Her Words, Book Nook. Today we are speaking with our friend Nancy Thayer. We can't wait for you to escape to Nantucket with us in her new book, The Summer Light on Nantucket. Nancy talks with us about her new book and what's in store for her characters and this new addition to her incredible library. We hope you enjoy.
Okay, Nancy, you gave us such a treat. We love having an early edition of your books.
Oh, you got it. Good.
Yes, and devoured it, as usual.
Wow.
Yep, me too. All finished. We loved it.
I don't even have one of those.
What?
What? What? I know.
No, it's so great, and oh my gosh, especially I don't know how it is where you guys are. I'm in Kansas City, which you know, and love the Chiefs references in the book. Thank you very much. But we're in the horrible fake spring where it teases us for a couple days and then it goes back to cold. So when they get to the island and it's warm and she's putting on her sleeveless dress, I was like, oh, it was the perfect antidote to this extra cold we're getting.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, we had a really cold winter in New England and on Nantucket, and everybody is worried about their electric bills. It's been a huge thing here. Even I think the governor is trying to talk to National Grid because it's really been hard.
Yeah. No,
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it is a cold one.
I've seen it because I follow all of the Nantucket Instagrams because I want to live there.
I've
seen a lot.
Oh, well, you'll have to come visit.
I have to come visit.
Yeah.
It's like I want to come off season, though. I'm a big off season person when it comes to beach
the
towns.
Best. It's so nice in the off season.
Oh my God, like a September, October. Gretchen, my dream is to come to the Nantucket Book Festival.
Yes.
Well, I have to I'm going to make a note about that. That would be so awesome.
Like we would love to come and do live podcasting.
Yes.
So much
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can get you guys here. Yes.
That would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
You would have so much fun.
Yes.
You live vicariously in all of your novels. I'm like, how do I become one of these female protagonists that reinvents herself on Nantucket?
With these amazing jobs and all this. Nancy, I don't think we talked about this last time, but I wrote down to ask you, what is it with the food and the cooking on Nantucket? Every time I'm reading your books, I'm like, oh my God, there are all these amazing ingredients and I closed myself up for a weekend and read the Christmas Nantucket book, your Christmas books this winter. And I was like, everyone is an amazing cook. Are you an amazing cook?
No, I'm not. I was an amazing cook. But I think it's that we have amazing things here like scallops. Scallops are so tender and no calories, and they're just right out there in the harbor or in the ocean, and everybody can go scalloping. And then I don't go scalloping, but I have friends who give us scallops. There are so many fine restaurants on the island, and they're really good with loaning recipes. I have a wonderful recipe for bluefish pate.
That's interesting because bluefish is not something you normally, as a wife of a fisherman, that's not something you need to do something with bluefish. So that's interesting.
Yes. I know bluefish. I don't love cooking bluefish that much, but the pate is wonderful. And there are just a lot of people here who write cookbooks, and it's just easy to get good recipes. And then I make things up. Like I've made a hot flash cake Um, and I use that as my Christmas cake, and it's really a chocolate cake. Um, and I've thrown in cranberries, which we have all over the island,
Yeah.
and some pepper and some paprika, and
Oh,
so
yum.
on. So I've made I made a cocktail, I think, for last year's book because there was a shop called Nantucket Blue.
Hmm.
So I made
Yeah.
a Nantucket Blue drink and it's really good and it's very strong. So
I love it.
yeah, and people just cook here. Maybe it's because we have long winters, so people
Yeah.
take the
Yeah.
time to make delicious food. A lot of people have their own ice cream makers
Oh my
and
gosh.
they make like ginger ice cream.
Yeah.
That's the last that we had at someone's house.
Oh, that's delicious.
So,
I tempted myself one day. I made cinnamon ice cream for around like
oh,
Thanksgiving. Around
oh,
Thanksgiving,
Yum.
cinnamon
yeah,
ice cream is my
yeah,
favorite ice cream, and you never
yeah.
really find it anywhere.
No,
So
no,
you
I
have to
love
That's
it
home make it.
too. Yes,
that sounds
yeah,
delicious. Yeah, every time I'm reading and they're making these beautiful salads and the scallops and the lobster rolls,
right.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, these like they're so industrious and so I love it. I was happy when Blythe made the tuna rice casserole
Oh,
for her family. That one, I'm like,
yes.
that was one of my things that my mom always made for us, and then on a weeknight I do for my kids when they were little. It was like, oh, tuna rice casserole is a good
It's
old
so
staple.
satisfying. It's
You're
so,
right.
and I grew up in Kansas, and the funny thing about that is when our grandchildren come, and there are a lot of them, I always make a huge tuna casserole, an
Uh,
enormous one. And I made one a couple of years ago, and I called my sister and said, I just made a tuna casserole. And she said, I just made a tuna casserole. So it's like in our Midwestern
right,
genes, the
right.
tuna, but it's also
I'm going to throw out there. My mom
satisfying.
definitely made one as a Jersey mom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's a great
it's,
one.
it's
It was
comfort.
the yeah, but are you was it we were tuna rice, there's also tuna noodle. I don't know if people do if that
Oh,
was
oh, I do
the
tuna noodles.
oh,
Yeah,
you do tuna noodle. See, we
yeah.
did tuna
Mhm.
rice. What did you guys
Mm.
do, Renee?
Tuna rice.
Tuna rice. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So I
well,
know there were people that we were like, oh, we're having tuna casserole. It was like noodles. I was like, oh, what is that?
how exotic.
So tell us
I'm
how you we're huge fans and always love talking to you. So tell us how Blythe came about and loving that she's got the four kids, loving that she's a teacher. So just do you want to talk a little bit about how Blythe came to be?
sure. I think, first of all, my novels are all about families and
Great.
different constellations of families. And I never want to do what I've done before.
Mhm.
And I don't have to because there are so many different kinds of families. And in the summer we started over, it was a father and
Mhm.
two sisters. So I thought, okay, I want to go somewhere else. And basically, I just steal everything from my daughter and her six children, but also from friends on the island who have children or have grandchildren. Um, and it just, I also was happily divorced a long time ago. I had two children, came to Nantucket to see a friend, and met Charlie, my husband. So the whole idea of coming to Nantucket is always in my head because so many people I know come here for a week, a holiday, and um, they meet a man and they get married. It's like not, I can't promise that it happens, but some of my best friends have. My good friend Charlotte was director of the library, and a man came to one of the talks, and afterwards he asked her out for a drink. And they've been married for, I don't know, 10 years now.
Oh my gosh.
So
It's like a more expensive Tinder, and like to go to Nantucket
it is. It is.
with a more
It's,
beautiful setting.
Right? Magic in
yeah,
the air.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But people do come here to be happy. You don't come here to apply for a job at a hospital or to go to the hospital. It's really, well, I guess you come here if you want to fish. You come here if you want to have a job. I'll find a job for you.
We might take you up on that, Nancy. Don't
Yeah,
tease us.
yeah. But with Blythe, I thought I wanted to write about what it's like if you're happily divorced and still friends with your husband, and you really want your husband to stay with the woman he's with because that makes your children happy. And I have seen this happen in a lot of divorce marriages, and a lot of people I know say, they say, you marry the first time to get the children you want. You marry the second time to be happy. And that's what happened to me. It's happened to so many of my friends. And in a way, I feel like the children get more people to love them.
Yeah.
I felt that way ever since my first novel, Stepping, which was written when I had stepdaughters. So all of that was in my head. And then I thought about uh, my oldest granddaughter, who is, well, she'll be 17 in April. I don't think she hasn't told me if she's been in love yet, but her older brother, Elias, who is 18, he's very big, very handsome, and he came over here with a friend who is a girl, and they were absolutely adorable. And I said, Elias, is that your girlfriend? And he said, well, she was, but I did something stupid with another girl. Well, I don't want to know what that was. But I thought about my high school boyfriend, and I'm going to do a Throwback Thursday on my social media because I went back and looked at all of my, oh my goodness, my pictures from high school, and I remembered how much I was in love with my high school boyfriend. And when you're in high school and you're in love, it's just huge. It's enormous. It changes your genes. So I thought, okay, I want Blythe to have a child who's going through this crisis. And I suppose I have friends who have grandsons. I have friends who have granddaughters, and I just took pieces of them all. And I also use my own grandchildren a lot. And I have a friend, I can say Deborah is her name, and her two grandsons live out in California, and they are so different. And I have that in my mind too. So that's why Daphne is like one of Deborah's grandsons, which is totally going to save the earth. Nothing else matters. I don't want lipstick. There are bugs. Look at this bug. And so I think it's kind of a transformation. And also, I think because I'm older, things are funnier. That things are just a little bit more humorous. And I wanted to put more humor in because you have to laugh sometimes, right? Yeah,
Always. I think
always.
you always have to keep your sense of humor. I'm trying to like
Yeah,
instill that on my
yeah.
stepkids because they're just getting older and they're
Mm.
16 and 12 and everything's so
Oh.
serious.
I know.
We
I
don't
know.
understand. It's so serious. And I'm like, gotta keep your sense of humor.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Gretchen, you know that with your
Yeah.
kids too.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
there's a very serious the world is ending uh,
Right.
phase they all go through, and then
Mhm.
luckily come out of it. But I did love that all of the kids had such distinct personalities and
Yeah.
were such strong characters. That was really fun.
Good.
Yeah,
One character, Holly,
yeah.
who who is making a book about sea gerbils, where I don't even know where she came from. But while I was writing her, I thought, I really want to write a book about sea gerbils, and I think
What's the
part of that,
sea
and they don't
gerbil?
exist.
Okay, good.
Okay, they don't. But I'll tell you what my copy editor discovered, Jennifer Rodriguez, is sea bats do exist. And I
Oh,
had started with sea bats. And when she was reading, it got down to the copy editor who checked and saw that there are sea bats, which is kind of disgusting. And because
yeah.
I don't like bats,
I was
but
gonna say
Yeah.
land bats are bad enough. Ugh.
yeah, but gerbils are cute little animals. And one of the things that I get to do now that I'm a grandmother is read children's books. You know, I read them when I was a child, I read them
Yeah.
to my own children. Now I'm reading them to my grandchildren. And nature is so important on Nantucket.
Mhm.
And we don't have a whole lot of different species, but we have rabbits and we have deer and different kinds of birds. We have little moles and voles. And I've been reading the poet Billy Collins a lot, which is another reason I think humor is important to me. And he loves mice. And I think we all have this feeling, probably because we all saw Disney's Cinderella, you know,
Hmm.
Cinderella, Cinderella. And I feel like probably in some universe there are those little darling mice who can
Yeah.
talk to us, and they're probably sea gerbils somewhere. It's imagination. My grandson, who when he was 10, started writing an illustrated book called Bob and John, and of course they do a lot of adventurous things. And I thought, I want a kid in a book who does that.
Yeah,
So I
they.
just steal from my grandchildren.
See how
That's it.
they're lucky you have
I
so
love it.
many. There's so many personalities to come.
Nancy, you put out a average a book a year at this point, right? Is that what
I
you would
do.
how is
Yes.
what is that? I guess one of my questions for you is how like do you have your ideas already formed that you're like, okay, this goes into this book, this goes
Yeah.
into the like that's just a lot. Like
That is a
in
lot.
my mind
Yeah.
to comprehend writing a full book, editing, so forth, and then marketing and then starting all over again.
Um, Part of the reason I can do a book a year is that I've been with the same editor and the same
Mhm.
publishing house
Yeah.
for years.
Mhm.
And I know what the readers, my readers, want. I know what my editor does not want.
Yeah.
And I know I love, for example, I love reading mysteries, but I wrote an essay for some um, probably internet site, and it was called "I Just Can't Kill Anyone," and that's why I can't write mysteries. I start them. I have the castle, the old house, the fog, the people, but then I I can't do it. So I think, like many writers, I have stacks of ideas. The ideas are easy. Fitting it into what what I want to achieve and what books have done for me all my life
Yeah.
is to bring comfort, to entertain, to make
Mhm.
people smile, to make the ordinary woman, the ordinary woman feel like, wow, my life is really significant And I can go through hard times and come out of them. And that's what I've always wanted to write about ever since stepping. So I'm working on a Christmas book now
I'm
that
excited
will
for
be
that.
set. You should come for Christmas, for the
Stroll.
Christmas
Oh,
stroll.
a
It is
stroll. I
so
know.
wonderful. And
We should
Santa
just buy
Claus,
a house and move there, Gretch.
of
Like, you and
course.
I should just get an apartment
Yeah,
someplace in
they're only
Nantucket.
Yeah,
like $5 million.
I
I,
know.
I'm, it's
We missed that window.
insane.
But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Christmas books, I'm
I
so
do
excited you're
go on
writing a new
Zillow.
Christmas book. I love the winter, yeah, the winter
Oh,
vision of
Yeah,
Nantucket. I love that
yeah,
too.
there's like a
yeah,
cross of just, I have just imagine like from some of your books, just like the houses, like the Christmas stroll, just
Hmm.
everybody knowing each other, just magical.
How dressed
yeah,
up everyone gets, and oh, I love it.
yeah.
Um,
They,
are we going to
yeah.
see any of these characters again? Do you,
Ever
I don't,
revisit
yeah, do you
or have an
revisit?
urge to revisit?
um, there are so many
I
characters
know.
I'd like to revisit, but I already have an idea for, and I have just signed a 2 book contract. So I'll have a summer book come out in 27 and in 28.
Mm,
And I already know who's going to be in
In
the
each of them.
in the 27th. Part of it, I think, is that living on this island, I have more access to what's going on in people's lives.
mm,
I Our town is very small, so I walk in to I went into the pharmacy yesterday, and I talked with parents of a woman who has a wonderful children's boutique. So, and then I walked out and I talked to a guy. I don't know. It's easier to talk to people here than it is, I
Yeah.
think, in a big city,
Hmm.
um, or in a suburban area at the mall. At the mall, if I went up to a strange man and said, "Oh, your little cockapoo is so cute," he might say, "Yeah," but he wouldn't want to stop and linger. And
Yeah.
and we do that here.
Hmm. Well,
It's
well, I think the community of, when you think of small town and you think of the island, right? Like, there's not really an escape, and you're there year round, and it thins out and then it gets wider, and I think
Yeah,
that's a lot of, I feel like that's the ethos of beachy towns, right?
mm-hmm.
I think,
right. And I think the fact that, well, very wealthy people come here, but we don't see them because they have their compounds.
yeah,
But Ben Stiller, who is an actor, um, summered here with his parents for years. So he'll come here, and nobody says, "Oh my God, Ben Stiller, can I?" There,
yeah,
it's like there's Ben Stiller. There's Joe Biden. He comes here for Christmas with his family every year. There's Drew Barrymore. Somebody held the door for her while she pushed her baby carriage out, and then she went off, and they said, "Hey, that was Drew Barrymore." There's this sense of
yeah,
just let everybody alone, you
Mm-hmm.
know. If they say hello to you, which sometimes they do.
yeah.
I met somebody named Julian Casablancas, who you may not, or you may know who he is.
I
He
don't know who he is, but that's a hell of a name.
That is a hell of a name, and he's the lead singer for a group called the Strokes, but they're
Oh,
now called the Voids. And
yep.
he was in the
Okay.
store buying something um, last summer, and he came up to me, and we chatted, and I said, "Look at you have a huge spider tattoo on your arm. Why do you have that?" And he said, "My girlfriend has a huge spider web tattooed on her back." And I was like, "Oh my God, I've got to get that. You know, um, this is the cat who, this is Callie who likes to appear." on
Oh, look
So
how
Deer County.
sweet.
so sweet.
Honestly, she's a very odd animal.
She's a
But I
ham.
think it's because we
So
talk to
cute.
our grandchildren, and they love
Oh.
her, and she loves.
Well, we love
Anyway,
her. We love her too. We're cat
We're
people.
cat
yes,
people.
yes, good.
Cats
So
and books. They go together.
they do. Anyway, I asked Julian I said, "What do you do?" I could tell he was from New York because he just looked New York, and he's very tall, very handsome. So we got our picture taken, or I asked, and he asked, and if you're sort of like, I don't know, 35, and younger, you know who the Strokes are.
Yeah.
I've heard of them, but
I couldn't name a tune.
no,
Heard of them,
no,
but
I
I
don't
wouldn't have
think
known
it's.
that was who he was.
So that's the sort of thing
Yeah.
that happens in the summer. And then in off season, you get to talk to not just your friends, but everybody
Yeah.
who's staying here.
As you're developing your stories, are there do you kind of lay out the restaurants that everybody goes to, or, like Surf Beach and like you have certain characters that kind of come up, or certain areas or certain restaurants?
Yeah.
How do you kind of pick that? Because I'm assuming they all know who you are. So like, do they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to position a question of like, do they ask you to be in the book? Like, can I be your restaurant this time?
No, they don't. They like it when, for example, the Brant Point Grill.
Yeah.
I go there a lot, and they have done certain things for the Nantucket Book Festival and so on.
Yeah.
The language, there are only, what, at the most 10 restaurants in
Yeah.
town. So there are only so many places to choose from.
Yeah.
And we just lost our best town restaurant,
Oh
which is
no.
called the Downy Flake. And it's the place where you go in for pancakes for breakfast, and
Oh.
you know everybody, but most of the men haven't shaved, and they've got on their down or their flannel shirt, and it's very homey and not glamorous, but the food is amazing. Then we have the Languedoc, which is very chic and has a wonderful wine list and serves not chocolate pudding, but pot de crème, au chocolat, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So when I have, um, if some, like, well, if you've read the new book, Aidan takes Blythe to the Chanticleer, which is out in Sconset, probably the most expensive restaurant here. The chef is French. The champagne is amazing. Everything is amazing. But I wouldn't take my grandchildren there, but I would take them. There are a lot of more, like the Lemon Press, which is only open in the summer. So it just depends on what character, I guess,
Yeah.
I'm taking out to eat.
Yeah.
Charlie says my books are all full of food.
I
He said
said that's
everybody's always eating.
they're eating, and it makes us hungry, and it makes us want to cook. Like, I've got to do better recipes this summer every time I read it.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, it was so nice to see you again, and we're so excited to help get the word out for Summer Light on Nantucket. Like we said, we devoured it. We both were so
I'm
thrilled
so
to get
glad.
an early copy, and thank you so much for being such a good friend to women in entertainment.
Well, I love you guys.
Would love to come and be there and see you in person. We'd love to do the eating tour, the walking tour, the book tour, all of it with
All
you.
of those.
I'll try it
Yeah.
all. We want to walk
Okay.
through. And the
Okay.
stroll.
The stroll,
Oh,
exactly.
the stroll.
Why don't we make
Absolutely.
2 trips, a summer trip and a Christmas trip?
I don't even need
That's,
I was going to say a book fair trip and a Christmas trip. I'm good.
yes, that would
Yeah,
be
that would be
fantastic.
tax deductible, right,
Yes.
ladies? You could
Yeah.
tax deduct it. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to In Her Words. We hope you'll join us at womeninentertainment.com and go to our Substack for extended interviews and behind the scenes access.